his music, his smile, and his sweet, sweet melody. Do you recall that mentor and the voice with the velvet touch?
Hello, and welcome to the Keith Baldwin Show. I'm your host, Keith Young. Tonight's topic for discussion comes directly out of two previous shows, the evolving role of men and the evolving role of women. Some challenges were made by each of the opposite sex that could only be answered tonight here on the Keith Baldwin Show. So Bernie Mac doesn't come on until 9. Stay with us until 9 o'clock. Has there been a redefinition of gender roles? What's changed? Has the changes been generated by men or the women? I'm utilizing our guest tonight as part of the viewing audience to represent what is real. Textbooks and statistics may not always tell the true story. And if you have been following the Keith Baldwin Show, we try to keep the topics real and keep things in perspective. We need to be mindful and respectful of each person's opinion. There are no right or wrong answers. And with that said, I invite our viewing audience to call in when the phone lines open. The Voice is with us again. And The Voice is just that. The Voice relays the community's comments, questions, and concerns during the Keith Baldwin Show. Tonight, our panel will square off to define and discuss their specific roles in today's society. Hello, Voice, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Keith, panel, and viewers.
Voice, would you please describe the rules of engagement for tonight?
Sure. As these respectable ladies and gentlemen prepare to square off, there is one order of business I need to introduce. In order to ensure a degree of fairness, female and male participants are being given a game card. At any time that a team member feels that the other team has attacked in an unfair way, the card may be thrown. The team member throwing the card will be entitled to an immediate rebuttal or response. Best of luck.
Luck, yeah. Happy New Year, viewing audience. God bless. And again, we're doing this show tonight. The first show we had a few months ago with the evolving role of men. We wanted to talk about, how the male's role has evolved, from way back in the day till now. Things have changed. And from that, I was stalked a couple of times on the bus, and women said, we need to have a show too. So, reluctantly, no, I wanted to do the show with women as well, and it was very, very interesting when we had the women on. Some of our viewers might notice some of the panelists from the past. We have Anthony here, and we have Deborah and Judy. With that said, with names, I would like to introduce our women first. To my immediate left, we have Valerie. To her left, we have Deborah. And to her left, we have Judy. And ladies, thanks for taking time out of your busy day. Ms. Kelly, I know that you were sick and you still wanted to make sure there's a reason why you wanted to be here today. On the men's side, we have Demetrius to my right. To his right, we have Anthony, and to his right, we have Ken. And thank you very much for coming on. Also, before we get started, I want to thank the crew for being here today, Gus Bovic, Joe Schofield, Citizens Television, for allowing us to have this forum today. Something that I think, from what I heard, this is very risque, and for some reason, talk show hosts don't like to have this kind of thing. I don't have my big man standing here with me to break you guys up if need be, but hopefully the penalty cards will help that. Okay? So, let the debate begin. All right? The title of our show this evening is The Evolving Role of Men and Women. Are we all in agreement that indeed the male's or female's role has changed, or has it stayed the same? And you guys can just pick it up when you want to. Yes. Have we changed?
Yes, we have.
We have changed. We have changed. Judy, in what ways has the role of women changed?
Responsibility. Make sure that you provide your children alone.
Okay.
When you're alone, it's very hard.
Okay. So you're talking from a single woman's point of view.
Right.
Okay. Ms. Kelly, had the role changed from when you were coming up as a wee little babe to a big little babe now?
The roles, they have changed. They have always been changing, I feel, since the beginning of time. But yes, here in the year 2000, now we're in 2002, roles are still continually changing. And I feel like it doesn't just change because we're changing, it changes because of the way men change also.
Okay.
They impact how we change.
Men impact how you change. Fellas? Already?
Already.
Go for it.
Already.
Isn't it? Already.
Already. She stated that men impact the way that women change. Now, in what way does a man influence you to change? Is my question to you.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
You guys are a team.
Responsibility. When men lack their responsibility, women have to pick up where men lack.
So whereas when women lack, doesn't the man pick up, or is that supposed to be some type of tradition or something like that? It's just I'm asking out of curiosity.
Well, very seldom do women lack, I have to say. Very seldom.
Well, I mean,
Because
Please, continue.
continue.
women have been the backbone of men for a long time.
Granted.
Okay.
Granted.
Now, can you please stretch on that? How have you been the backbone for men? And I'm neutral. I'm neutral. But how have women been the backbone for men? In what ways?
When men don't stand up to take their responsibility, women have to. When you have children, whether there's a man in the home or not, you have to take responsibility.
Okay. All right. So at some
So
point,
you're taking up the man's slack. Even being in a single family home.
Okay.
Mom and dad.
Okay. Okay. I can agree with that. I can agree with that. Are you okay with your penalty?
Yeah. Well, I'm actually I want to kick on that a little bit more.
Please.
Okay. Now, me personally, I like to flip the coin here a little bit because you said that. So you said that when men lack, the women pick up. Now, granted your statement that women are consistent, I will not take that away. But for the men that are consistent and the women that lack,
It goes
then
both
what is
ways.
right?
It goes both ways.
But what is your take on that?
Yeah, it goes both ways.
What about the lacking female? Or is there such an
Yes,
such an
there
item?
is.
Oh, yes.
Yes, there is.
Oh,
Definitely.
yes. Well, we have to agree. Yes.
All right.
Yes. Yes.
And I hear that you have to agree, and I'm not trying to start up. You have to agree, but I'm not hearing in which ways women lack and which ways women don't. To me, it all falls on, in voice, I'm trying to stay neutral here, but to me it always falls on the male's shoulder, that we're the ones who are lacking, we're the ones who don't follow up on our responsibilities, and the women are doing it all. And I said this last show, why are we here? What purpose do we have?
My question is, when you say women lacking, can you elaborate a little more on that? What are you lacking, where, and how?
I can't elaborate if you can elaborate on how men are lacking their responsibilities. And I didn't hear that. I heard that we're lacking in responsibility, but
No, but
what
I mean,
ways?
yeah, well,
When they don't work, when they leave the woman with the children to move on to the next endeavor.
Okay, all right. Hence making you take more responsibility on.
Yes.
Okay, I can take that. I can take that. I can take that. I can take that.
now can you elaborate
Demetrius, did you want to elaborate on that?
on how
He just said he wasn't starting trouble.
On how women
Women
may
lack.
lack off or
Yeah.
not
Yeah, to a
responsibility.
Yeah, I
man?
can.
Any more you guys want to follow up on that?
Yeah, I do. I guess in ways that men do. You know what I mean? I mean, me personally, I can say from experience that I've lacked in areas. You know what I mean? But on the same token, there's women that lack too. In what ways? Well, we'll go with regards to finances. Question. I'll start with a question. Why is it that women, when they get their paycheck in their hand, they're off to the store, as opposed to finding themselves at the cable company, finding themselves at the telephone company, finding themselves at the bank making a car payment or even a deposit? Why is it they're off to the store? Is that because they know that the man is bringing in some bacon, so then they can say, well, I'll spend this money now, but I'll get the rest of the money from honey to pay the bills? Is that how that goes?
No, I think that if two people would sit down and talk about that,
Right.
you split. I mean, I go both ways. I
Right.
mean, you meet my needs and I'll meet your needs.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
there's always have to be a communication there to understand. Well, us, you know, we get funny when we get money. We kind of get crazy there for a while, you know.
Right.
When we go out there and we shop.
You're 100%
But also,
correct.
also you do the same thing, no?
Right.
Okay, it's
Right.
like a pleasure.
Right. Well, me, I don't find myself in the stores often. Right now, I'm speaking for myself now.
Well, because you guys got more. If you're really a family man,
Right.
then you do have a lot of responsibility.
To me, the responsible man is the man who works, brings home the paycheck, gives it to the woman so she can do what she's going to do with it. That's the responsible man. And I'm going to try to pull a little bit from what Demetrius is going to say, is that
You go ahead. You go ahead.
when the women go out and shop, it's because the man gave up that check. So now she's going to go ahead and do what she wants to do with the money.
Well, then she's in trouble then afterwards, because then how's she going to get the money to pay the bill?
But then that's a woman that's not considering.
Yeah, she's
Because
just
now
thinking
I
about
like
herself.
to shop, but I also pay bills.
Okay.
Because when you have children, that's your responsibility.
Okay.
And like I discussed with these ladies, when you come into a relationship, you don't bring 50-50. You bring 100 and 100. Because if you bring 50, where's the other 50?
Okay. Okay. All right. Do you ever wonder if men and women would like to get back to the old days when men are the breadwinners and women were at home? Everything was more defined. Men knew what was expected. Men knew that they were going to work, taking care of the bills, pretty much providing a roof over their head, and the women were taking care of the kids, taking care of the house. Do you ladies feel that I'm getting some body language from you, that should still be the same? Do you men think that should be, I mean, which way would you like it? Ken?
I don't think that was always the same. I think there are periods in our history when that was the same. I think after World War II, when all the laws came in to protect all those soldiers coming home to get the jobs first, I think that definitely was the case, and there were a lot of things going on that people were making a lot of money, and it was a one-income household, and that existed at a particular period in time. But you go 100 years ago on a farm, you can't say that the woman was sitting at home doing nothing and the husband's in the field. They're both in the field.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
That's true.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. That's true. And they were both in the field, but the woman still, after they were both in the field, the woman went home and she started cooking and she was still taking care of the kids.
I don't think, you know, there's a division of labor, but I mean, a farmer gets up at 5 o'clock in the morning and goes to bed with the sun, and they're both doing that. Okay. So, you know, I mean, there was a time, you know, the Eisenhower time, when this was all written. It was actually written into law, right? That Rose of the River had to go home and have children, and now we were going to have the men be the breadwinners. And there was a lot of money. That was a time in our history where everybody else's manufacturing was destroyed. We were the only game in town. Okay. You know, that was a time when a janitor working in a factory could send 3 kids to private college.
Okay. Okay.
That's not going to happen again.
Okay. Okay. It's not. Society has changed. We have a caller. Boys, talk to me.
Yes, 2 women just called in, and I have
I
2
bet they
phone
did.
calls. So the first one, the woman said it is the new millennium. It is 2002 of the new millennium. She said there are a lot of single parents. That means there are a lot of women who are taking up the men's slack. What she wants to see are the tables turned. She wants those men to step forward and do what they need to do to support their kids and their families. And the second woman quoted from scriptures, and she said she was responding to someone who talked about why can't women find their way to the cable company with their paycheck. Her response was, it's up to the man to pay the bills. He should be the provider, and women should participate if they both have agreed on that. Those are from 2 women.
I bet it was. Anthony, please.
Okay, you know, early in the show we did talk about the roles of women changing, and they have evolved, they have changed.
Okay.
Someone had stated that men are more or less inconsistent. They don't know what the men want. I think men are consistent. The things that we want have been the things we wanted in the past. We haven't changed. Those guys that you call men are still the providers. They still want to pay the bills. And I think a lot of times they're paying the bills is because they want a roof over their head. They know that they trust the women to go pay the cable, pay the UI. And if they don't have $200, $300 left to spend on clothes or fashion or whatever, they panic. Guys know that we're working Monday through Friday and looking forward to the weekend. That's it. We're looking forward to that relaxation. So we don't need money Monday through Friday.
Okay.
We just need clothes to put on to go to work.
Okay. Do women need more money than Monday through Friday, or do you need that extra oomph of money to go out and make yourself feel good and buy something for yourself, for the kids, or are you content with just paying for the bills and like the men do? I mean, basically, we want to make sure that I'm getting body language from you again. Your nickname is body language. we provide in the home, and we're content with that right there. The women provide for the home, but there's something extra. There's the mall thing and those store things. I mean, I could be wrong.
No,
You're right.
You're right.
But you know what? Maybe the mall thing is with most women, but the hanging out thing is with most men, and they feel they worked all week. Some of this money is going to me. I'm going to hang out with the boys for a little while. So it does balance out.
Different kind of recreation.
But it's different. It's
Yours
different,
is more expensive.
but not necessarily so. Not necessarily so. Think about when the guys decide they want to rent cable for the big fight or the this or the that or the games or the
football.
Whatever.
Super Bowl Sunday where they had the
But that don't cost nothing.
We chip in 9
Really?
guys.
That doesn't cost
Oh,
anything.
you have to
You ain't got to buy that. It's
food.
free.
And,
You spend
and we
$30
won't
your
talk
time.
about those who drink and then all the money they spend in the beer
So there
and
are
the
different,
what
there are
have
different
you.
kind of recreation.
Yeah, and a lot of us, most women, well, so I know some who will go top of the line all the way, but most women do bargain shopping.
Yes.
They look for the sales and things like that.
I have this thing about the bargain shopping. We have a caller. Voice, talk to us. Yes, voice. Okay, must have lost the voice. Another woman's voice has been put to the side. We'll pick up from here. Women are a larger part of the workforce. So you can't throw a penalty card out of the door. You got a penalty? Come on, talk. You got a penalty? Women are the larger part of the workforce. There are a lot of single moms. Women have started taking on duties that were generally thought as a man's responsibility. We're talking about, jobs that were, I'm not going to say made for men, but that men had first. Now women have it. And maybe construction jobs and in the corporate world now, and directors and things like that. There's a lot more women that are stepping up to the plate and taking on those challenges. Do you men feel intimidated by that? And do you women feel more strengthened and more power from that right there?
It's more money.
It's more money. More money is more power.
Yeah, of course.
and it
And
just
more
proves
responsibility.
Yeah.
you don't see it so much as a man's world.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I feel like you're taking over. That's right.
I'm sorry, Drew.
Yeah, but here's the problem, okay? There was a protection involved in making sure that we were the breadwinners 15, 20 years ago. We got first pick at the jobs. There are some jobs you couldn't have. There are some jobs where the boss was sitting there doing 1/4 of the work. His secretary was doing 75% of the work. That was the way of the world, right? It's not that way anymore, but how come we're still expected to make more money? How does that happen? It's going to happen in some families, some families where, you both got a little college education. It's going to come back that the wife is going to catch a break. I was a real estate broker in the 80s in Bridgeport.
Men are expected to make more money.
No matter what the woman's expectation of her own money, she still expects the guy she ends up with to have that much more money. Okay. It's like that thing where guys somehow expect the women they end up to be with about 7 years younger. Somehow or another, no matter where you're coming from, there's this expectation that whoever your mate is, that guy's going to make $20,000 more than you. Why?
I feel like hearing his comment and everything, when you look at it and you have a diverse group here, changes and expectations go along with the different cultures and statuses and things like that, because if some people would call in right now, you would find out that some say, I just want my man have a job, make money. It doesn't matter if it's more or less now. It's that you're contributing equally, like you're putting that equal effort into sharing this relationship, from everything from emotional support and physical support and financial support.
Okay.
So
Whether it's a little or a lot.
Okay.
With regard to finances, whether it's a little or a lot,
well, I
You
won't
want the
say
support.
whether it's a little or a lot, but wherever you are at,
Right.
whatever you can make, you know, because when he was talking about how after World War II, some laws were put into effect, but some laws were put into effect for him and not for you necessarily. And what?
Right, look cold enough to have
No,
had
but
the
I mean,
advantage of
no,
those laws.
I mean,
I've had a bad day.
No,
it could
but
be.
I mean, no, but what I'm saying is that when you look at different nationalities, I'll put it like that, when laws were put into effect, it didn't always apply to the so-called minority.
Okay.
So our standards were a little bit different. Our expectations were a little bit different. When at the beginning of the show, we all were talking about, and he stated also, that the roles have always not been in the quote-unquote norm. And it varied from places. He talked about farming and how women shared equally hard work and things like that, and they did. And with us, a lot of times, only the women could get hired when the men in my culture could not get hired. And when you look at those kind of things, your standards are different, your expectations are a little different, but the bottom line is that we want equal support.
Voice, are you with us?
Yes, I'm with you. I actually never left. I've been on the phone with many, many viewers. I want to say that the women's score is right up there because the women viewers are calling in mass.
You know why? Go ahead. Talk to his voice.
Well, you did have one man call in.
Hey.
Yes, and he said men should take total responsibility for all of the bills. If there's not enough money, then you need a second job.
Bruh. Okay, she disguised her voice.
Definitely man.
She disguised her voice. You guys want to? I don't want to.
I want to answer
Please.
that. Okay, first of all, I think that
We need to get 2 jobs.
we got
2 jobs.
I've had 3 jobs at one time. I think as a guy, we want the best. If we have a family, we want the best for our family. I mean, like I say, it's not the women are forcing us to pay all the bills. We feel like we have to in order to keep the things that we have and hopefully get more.
Do we feel that we have to because of how it was back in the day, from other role models, from dads and uncles and things like
definitely. I think that I came from I don't want to say a broken home. I mean, but my mother raised myself and my 4 other brothers, and we've always operated without a safety net. I mean, my mother was one of these proud ladies. She didn't like to ask for things and stuff like that. And she's always instilled in us, like, look, don't depend on anybody. You know, if you want something, go out there and get it, work for it. And I don't think any of us are shucking our responsibility for paying all the bills. But as the women's roles have changed, it just can't change one side. You can't all of a sudden start making as much money as we do and not find yourself feeling to contribute. You know, you just, if you start making enough money, you should want to help us out.
Okay.
Because we may not be making as much as we used to.
So women do your part too.
Yeah, you're making the money.
We have a caller. Voice, talk to us.
Yes, I need to know, who was the one who commented on the paycheck and taking it to the cable company and not going shopping?
I think that was the guy in the red.
The guy in the red.
Yeah.
Not with the red card, the guy with the red?
Right.
Okay, okay. We need a clarification. This woman called in and said, did you explicitly tell her to take that paycheck, and was it a paycheck you earned, and take it to the cable company, or did you not tell her that? I mean, we need to know. Did you tell her what to do with this money? Or did you just excusing her of shopping willy-nilly?
Well, I like to think that she should know what to do with the money.
You got bills. You got bills.
You got bills. I mean, there's no way around that. I mean, it has to be paid. You know what I mean? What are you gonna do?
I mean, if I had, okay, she gave me money, and I knew that I had the water bill to pay, the electric bill to pay, the cable bill to pay, mortgage. Then if I didn't pay those things, then something would get cut off. So we would hope that she took the money and she paid on the bills. I mean, what else you gonna go buy some bubble gum or something like that?
know what? You're talking about now, it's not so much money, it's communication.
There you go.
So wait a minute,
All right.
So we got to
so
tell.
it's our fault that we didn't tell you to pay for the bills, therefore.
No, what I'm talking about is that when you decide you're going to be together, you're also, it's more than just love. You're talking about, well, how we're going to make things work. You have a dream together, whatever. Discuss ahead of time when you're in that relationship, if jobs have changed, whatever. Okay, let's sit down and talk about what we make. All right, who wants to be responsible for which? You know,
Right.
and that communication there, you know, instead of
I got
saying
you.
she should know.
I tell you, in your,
A financial makes a pair argue a lot.
okay.
Money
It
does.
does.
And
Always
it's a big
does.
issue.
Yeah,
Money
a
does.
big issue.
Yeah.
Okay, in your home setting, and Judy, you're a single parent, right?
Yeah.
Married.
Excuse me for a minute before you continue on.
Please.
Okay. Oh. To touch on that, what this lady said here, what's your name, Judy?
Judy.
Okay. It doesn't matter how much money you have. There's always going to be a discrepancy about finances.
Yes.
It doesn't matter who you are.
Okay, that's true.
I mean, you could be a millionaire.
Right.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? There's always going to be a problem with finances.
Now, who pays the bills in your? Do you? Okay, I'm just going to point at you. Do you pay the bills, or do you give the money up for the bills?
I pay bills.
You pay the bills.
Yeah.
I pay the bills.
You pay the bills.
I'm a stay-at-home dad. She pays the
Stay-at-home.
bills. I buy groceries with my part-time job.
She pays the bills.
About
You
it.
pay the bills. You pay the bills.
Yeah.
Does she
He
pay the
brings the money home and I pay the bills.
Oh.
bills? Now,
You sound like a homemaker.
I work. No, I work.
okay. Now, do you, who,
We do both, and most times he'll bring it and we'll talk about where it needs to go.
that's our communication.
How much did you stash before you said that?
Judy,
you talk about it?
you pay the bills. You do the whole nine.
Well, when I was married, we shared.
shared it.
We talked, and you do this, I do that, you do this, and
I
we
did a
made
poll.
life
I did a
go.
poll from the last show that we had.
Yeah.
The last show that we had to now. I did a poll, and 8 out of 10 women, 8 out of 10 men, make the money, bring the money home. Whether the other females work it or not, he brings the money home. She pays the bill. Why do we give the money? Is it our fault that we give the money up that easily? Do we not want the headache of paying bills? You guys pay the
Keith,
bills.
whether you go to and pay all the bills, like, okay, I got to pay this, I got to pay that. Sometimes men don't like doing the checks or doing nothing,
Right.
don't paperwork or anything. So they give the money to the wife, where she go ahead and do what she needs to do. Yeah.
That's
Paperwork.
in my case.
Paperwork.
Okay.
Well, first, I think it's going to be levels of income that plays a part in this.
So whoever makes more pays the bills?
No, I think that if out of the couple, if the woman is good at paying bills, then that's her responsibility. I mean, she should do it. And if the guy is better at it, in my case, the reason why I pay the bills because I think I'm better at it.
Right.
I don't panic if I don't have.
Or do you think that it's for sure the bill is going to get paid?
It's a combination of both.
There it is right there. Let's move on to the next question. Okay. I often hear it's time for women to be heard. Why do you think that is? Why should women be heard opposed to men? Women want to be heard. It's because you have not been heard for so long? Or do you feel that women need to be heard? Do you think that your voice is here and is here to stay?
Our voice is here and here to stay.
Right on,
But
sister.
I think maybe it came during that transition time when women were letting the men know I'm more than just this woman that comforts you and takes care of your children
Burning
and
of the
things
bra.
like that.
Burning of the bra. And those Virginia Slim cigarettes that take everything off.
No, not really. Well, in my culture, we always stood up because we had to. All right, and we were always heard because we had to be heard. I hate to say it, people don't like hearing about it stemmed from slavery and this and that and the other, but circumstances made us speak up. The other women saw the power we had, and they were ready for that
get some.
independence
Okay,
too.
okay.
We had no choice at independence where others were trying to obtain it.
That makes sense. I guess anytime you're a minority, you want just as much, or if not more, than what other genders or cultures.
Well, you have to.
You have to.
You gotta speak up.
Right. Now,
wait a minute. I want to put my place setter here. As a middle-aged white guy, I'm the only one here that it is totally legal to discriminate against any state in the union. You can go right ahead, discriminate against me for any reason you want to, except maybe I'm too fat. Some people give me a break on that. Other than that, you can choose anything you don't like about me and just discriminate all you want. I'm a non-protected species. I'm like that deer out in the yard. All right.
No, I didn't mean it to sound that way, and I don't mean to bring it back to that point. But what I'm saying is that it's diversity here, and I'm just speaking on the diversity part that I know.
Now, what I'm hearing from you, Ms. Killen, what I've heard from other women, and basically city women, is that women have had a whole lot more to fight for, and that's what all different ethnicity. They had a whole lot more to fight for. And I don't know whose fault that was or who set that stage. I just think that man was born first, so he had first kudos to say what he needed to say. How do you guys feel about women wanting to be heard? Do you think that women need to be heard, or do you think we've heard them enough, or maybe it's time for guys to get back where they were, or do we have any place to be?
I think they need to be heard.
Okay.
Yeah, I do.
Okay. And why do women need to be heard?
Well, I came up in the South, deep South, and like my grandmother, she's never really said too much when I was coming up, but she did a lot.
Okay. Okay. So
but when my grandfather passed, I noticed that she spoke a lot more. So it's like all those years that my grandfather was alive, she was holding something back. And at some point along the line, she became liberated. You know, where she was just able to air out. And now and that's just the way it is. I mean, you know, it is what it is. They need to be heard. I really feel that way.
Okay.
They've been quiet long enough. Okay. Yes.
We have a caller. Voice.
Yes, we've had lots more female callers.
I bet.
Actually, one caller wanted to address the situation that she heard someone say that women can live with a man who makes less and won't care. In her mind, she said most women, it doesn't really matter what group they belong to, what ethnic group, in their minds believe that men should make more than men, maybe because classically men do or have made more. That was just a point she wanted to bring up. But then I had a woman call in just now, and I think this is going to touch you, Keith, because what she said was men need to be re-educated, that we need good role models for the young men so that those young men grow up learning how to be good fathers, husbands, and providers.
I appreciate that. That was pretty much directed to me. Why was it directed to me? I don't know. But
well, it's directed to you because your position as male involvement coordinator, I think, you know, she didn't know that. I'm putting it to you because I think what she was saying is that she wasn't being disrespectful to men. What she was saying was that a lot of men lacked good role models. Okay. And so they're only living their lives doing the best they can, and maybe they could have done better if they had some strong male in their life.
Yeah, thanks. And thank you. I strongly believe that, and I think that's where it goes back to the beginning of the show about the responsibility piece, and that's what that domino effect will do. Right. If the man bails out of that home setting, then that child, those children are growing up without that piece of a role model. So hence begins the cycle of negativity and of men lacking their place, destruction. Ken?
Role model implies he's got it down pat. He knows what he's doing. He knows what's expected. He's got the whole program lined up, and he's doing it, right? These guys that bailed, they're not doing it. They're not making it. They're not. You know, who's to say if they were there, they'd be a role model?
What do you guys feel about the man who does bail out? I mean, you guys are in the picture. How do you feel about the men that do bail out? I mean, I know how the ladies feel because you know it's more pressure on them. It's more that they have to do. It's double the work. It's emotional, financial, all that stuff. How do you guys feel, real quick, about the man who bails out?
It depends on how they bail. If they bail and not provide, then there's a problem. I mean, although he may not be able to pay those bills, as long as he's able to provide for that child, because that's the most important part of it.
Being involved in some kind of way,
You know
he's
what I
still
mean?
being a role model.
The child is always the most important part. It doesn't matter. Everything else, I mean, is not really that important.
Okay.
That child is the most important thing.
Anthony?
Yeah, I think he's exactly correct, because it is how you bail out. You can bail out and still take care of your responsibilities. I mean, some relationships just don't last, it just don't click. Maybe something happened that just can't be repaired. So you don't expect the guy to stay there. Guy is much too proud to stay in a situation that he knows is not going to get any better. But if you take care of your responsibility, I mean, I'm all for him.
Ken, you wanna?
Well, sometimes, I had a brother-in-law found himself in a situation where he wasn't contributing. He didn't have anything to contribute. And sometimes there are safety nets for that family and that mother that kick in if he's kicked out, If he stays in the household, nobody's going to pay. Nobody, I mean, there are situations where, because of the safety nets that exist, people are just bailing because when they're gone, there'll be more money coming in than when they were there. That is a reality that our system is set up, and I've seen bad situations like that.
So it is a costly situation when that male bails out, and equally when that female bails out. It's a costly situation. It ultimately affects that child. It devastates that child, because now what we're doing is we're having children grow up with this mentality that they can bail out. We're having children with this mentality that they don't have to take care of their responsibility. And so, it's up to us. That's why I'm so glad that you guys are on this show today, because you guys are being role models right now to some folk who might not know really what time it is when it comes down to life and responsibilities. How do you women feel about the young ladies who are coming up now who say they don't need a man in their life at all, who are right from the back taking men out of the picture? How do we respond to that?
But then does that go back to, like you said, with the men, role models? Maybe coming up, their father left. So they feel like, my mother did it, and I can do it too.
Okay, good. Yeah, and that's what happens.
I mean, it goes back to role models.
That's what happens. We have a caller. Yes, voice.
Yes, this actually goes to the question you just posed to your panel. A woman called in and she said, you know what, women, the best thing we can do is educate ourselves, be strong, and take care of ourselves, not depend on anyone, specifically men.
Specifically.
Well, there's no one else to depend on. We don't depend on the men.
I don't think that, even in a married situation, I don't think you're depending on anybody. I'm married, but I'm an independent woman.
When you get married, what are you depending on? Let me get right to you, Judy. When you get married, what is the expectation? Is it because we love each other so much and we want to live life and go through the falls and the springs and hold hands and go skipping? Or is it having security? Or is it having that financial piece? What is it? And I'm not just asking you specifically. I mean, what is it? What is so big about being married? What is so big about being a couple? And if women don't need men, and men, I haven't heard you guys say that we don't need women. But
I'm not going to say that I don't need a man, because you still need companionship.
Okay.
You need companionship. And Debbie is my friend, but I can't find it in Debbie. And I'm not even talking about sex. I'm talking about companionship.
And
do we get a different perspective from a man? Like you said, you can't find it in Debbie. Is there a different language, a different persona? Is it different?
Well, that's how we were created.
I was going to say
we were created that way.
Okay.
There is a difference.
Judy wanted to say something.
Well, all we hear we talk about is financial, but that's not the only thing that we need to get together on.
What else? What else do we need to get together
There we go again. We got the communication, mentally, physically, and everything, in order to make it work.
Okay.
Because it's not easy for two people. I mean, let me tell you, we're like cats and dogs half of the time, and that's not easy.
Okay.
I mean, you really got to work on it to make it work, you know?
That's right.
Can we raise this question? It's getting 20 minutes to the hour. It's time for it to get a little bit heated up in here.
I think
Question. When there's an argument between man and woman, male and female, there's an argument. Why is it that the female, and this is just what I heard, Anthony's line, that the female has the last word. That the female has the last word. And basically what the last word is, I don't know where, that came up about 5 years ago, but it works. There's another thing that shuts men up, but I want to go on this right here first. Why is it that women have the last, why do, I'm looking at them, but I'm asking you guys, why do women always have the last word?
That's what they strive for. To me, the last word doesn't prove or solve the problem. You know, the last word is this. You feel like I make sure my wife has the last word.
You let her have the last
I
word.
make sure I stopped a long time ago.
I have a comment to make.
Right. Okay.
I'm like, it's okay, it's done. Yeah, you're right, and it's over. You know, because she wants to have the last word. But if it's if it's a decision that has to be made and it affects me in some way, I'm gonna have to either give in or
So you just roll with the punch and just leave it alone. She thought she had the last word. Not her specifically, but women, they thought they had the last word.
Let them have that. I'm a man of few words.
What's it?
Yeah, right.
Never had the penalty card with you.
While she's, because you mean you let.
Yeah.
Explain let.
When I say let her have the last word, for me to let someone have the last word, that means for me to shut up and let them continue. Now, they won't continue for 2 minutes. They'll just go on and on. I'll sit there and I'm like, yeah, okay. I've already said what I had to say, and that's my feeling.
So men don't
Why
like
do
to
I have to
argue as much as
elaborate?
women? Men don't like to argue as much as women.
Yeah.
We had a penalty card.
Why do you have to elaborate on it? You know, like.
First of all, why does it matter who has the last word when you're trying to get a point across? I feel like that's a male thing. All right, the last word, you know, because usually when they say women want to have the last word, men, you can tell me if this is true. Most men would rather walk away than keep talking, and
Exactly.
and that makes us talk more because we feel like, okay, you're cutting us off, you don't want to hear anything else, but we sit and we listen to what you have to say. And a lot of times, if it feels like our point is being made a little bit stronger than yours, and he's getting ready to say, see, that's what I mean about women.
You sit and listen to what we say.
Okay.
When was the last time?
When you said last word.
When they sat still and listened to what we said.
Yeah, and then we want to make our point, and then we're cut off.
Okay. Judy?
Well, see, there you go again. You're creating a problem there. Instead of sitting down and talking about it the right way, instead of yelling and screaming, and if they walk away, you never accomplish what you're trying to get through in the head, you know what I mean?
Well, that's the whole point.
Yeah.
And that's what my
But like
point
but
is.
it never
Like
finished,
Debbie
though.
said,
It
though.
never
Agree to
finished.
disagree.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you walk away,
It's not
it's
resolved.
not resolved.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
Nothing.
There's
It's
no
really not
closure.
resolved.
There's no closure.
Okay, all I got to say in my house is exactly the opposite.
Okay.
All right.
That's
All right?
great.
Well, that's
Well,
good.
no, it's terrible.
Really?
But in my house, it's exactly the opposite.
How so, Ken?
Because I want to argue it out. She's gone.
You know what?
So
When
I may be from a different group, you know. The girls I went to college with cuss a lot. They have jobs. I don't know what the story is, but in my house, it's exactly the opposite. I want, you know, and it's done.
Run. Go north, man. Go north. Another piece to the situation, and I got to bring this up. When is that time of the month? Because you know what? There's a lot of young men out there who don't know. And I was talking to a couple of my friends today. This means my short friends. And they said to me, don't even think about it because this is PMS time and I ain't trying to hit. So I was like, wait a minute, how come you women think that when you throw up the PMS letters, that we're supposed to just back up and or it's worse than getting arrested type thing, worse than getting beat down type thing because you got the PMS thing. It's not our fault that, we don't have those kind of physical
Are you trying to tell me that you guys don't have physical moves?
swings.
No, have no moves?
Yes, we do, but we don't have anything to blame it on. And women get to use this. They get, I'm very worried about when my daughter's able to use this right here. When she gets up in age a couple of more years. What my son is going to have to worry about when his sister is having a bad time of the month he just better just let everything go. Whatever she says is right, man. Just leave her alone, man. And there was a young gentleman who his mother said that he learned about that time of the month thing through his sisters, and he just looked and learned, and he knows when to back away. No one even told him. This boy knows the body language and everything. That's a shame. That's scary. You guys have a lot of power, man.
Well, see, he's smart because when he grows up and get a woman, he goes, okay, I know where it's coming from.
Well, see, so he's smart.
Yeah, so
That's
he walks
part of
away from a
education,
problem.
all
He's
right?
2 steps ahead, you know?
Two
He's
steps
stepped ahead.
So he's one of the good,
Remember,
he's one of the smart ones.
I believe the voice told us, one caller said men need to be more educated on women. We pretty much understand men because we made it our business to understand, all right? But men don't always understand us because some of them don't feel like they should have to go that extra mile to understand us.
Okay, it's 2002. There's still no female president. You guys think there's going to be a
Change
female
the
president?
subject, right?
Yeah, I changed the subject.
He's the host.
You won again. I'm the host. There's going to be a female president. And again, we had these questions over the last 2 shows.
Yeah,
now we get a chance to be face-to-face to get some body language, to get some reaction.
Oh, eventually, you know, it's going to come. I mean, everything else has changed. Nothing has stayed the same. So why not have a female president? You know, how soon? We don't know. Night and day. Michael Jordan came back. I mean, anything can happen.
Michael
you know?
Jordan's a man. Female president.
Well, maybe another 1,000 years. No, I'm just playing. But no, the potential is there.
Yeah.
I personally think the potential is there. Why? Because we can go as far. We can go from the corporate world. We can go into. We can go into the police agencies. We can go into all these different arenas, and we see females in high positions.
That's right. They're
We
coming.
see female mayors in different cities. We've seen governors, female.
That's right.
So yeah, I mean, me personally, I think that there's the potential, very strong potential for there to be a female president. When? Nobody knows. Like I
We're
said,
gonna
maybe 1,000
We're
years.
going to get right to you. We have a caller. Yes, voice.
Yes, we had 2 callers. Well, we had more than that, but right now I have a man who called in and said compromise is good. Forget the last word. You need to compromise. I guess that works for him. And then we had a woman call in and said man should have the last word.
Why?
He is the ruler.
Whoa, here you go.
Did you get that name?
We want that phone number.
Right?
Female
He
president.
is-
She's okay.
Right.
That if he's a millionaire, probably.
Now, that is an intelligent woman right
Yeah, yeah, if he's a millionaire.
Why if he's a millionaire?
there. See?
Because she
You
got
talking about
security.
finance.
Because she got security through
Money.
Money, there
that
you
he's
go.
giving
I
to
know
her.
about
So
the
she
money.
can't- female
On
president?
the president thing, I heard you saying, yeah, they're coming.
I was just trying to help. I was just trying to help.
Women have already arrived at that point. The problem is that some institutional systems are still run by that man with that mentality that says, no, we're not ready for a woman yet. They can be right by my side, but they can't be there yet.
Not
I'm not ready to give that up. So when you're talking, he said, yes, we're ready. We have the potential. We don't just have the potential. We're there, given the opportunity. It's still a man's world in a big sense.
So give the opportunity. And
I got to tell you, we live in a global community. Okay, just because we haven't had a president in this piece of the world
It's been
doesn't mean there haven't been
all
prime
over.
ministers
In other parts of the
in other parts of the world going around. And the wonderful thing about it is that all these magical things that we thought would happen when the first woman was in charge don't happen. They declare war. All the same things that male presidents do, they do.
Because there are strong women.
One thing I am concerned about is that time of the month, having that much power, going into a war, somebody going to get hurt. Okay.
They took the
Excuse
football
me?
away from Reagan. They took the football away from Reagan.
Can you say that again?
I'll just play. I'll just play. As men, what does it mean to be a role model as a man? And before we say that, I want to get to our last caller. The question is going to be for both of you guys. What does it mean to you to be a role model? Real quick. And what does it be for you to be a female role model? Okay. We have a caller. Yes, voice.
Yes, I thought this was interesting. This caller said that men and women really don't communicate well with one another. When women speak, men aren't really hearing what they're really saying, and when men speak, women aren't really hearing what they say. And I think that merits the panel a little bit of discussion.
Okay.
Do we listen to each other? And Judy's been saying it. Ms. Kelly said it. I've heard Val say it. You know, communication.
Did I cut in?
But
Yeah.
Yeah, come on.
Jeez, I say. Go ahead.
Talk about the last word.
Yeah.
It's really not listening that this caller was talking about, and I think I was understanding her. It's really speaking. Do we speak as women? Do we speak and have men hear what we're really saying, or is it like, you know, when you talk to the dog, all the dog hears is blah 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 Grover? Is it
Why?
the same with men to women?
Why are we compared with the dog? Blah 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 blah.
Blah, 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 blah.
Why are we compared with the dogs?
It was just a convenient analogy.
Thank you,
There you go.
Demetrius.
I think in a lot of cases, when women speak, there's a lot of ego involved, or even, let's just say pride, because a woman will never say what she really, truly, honestly feels. She'll speak in tongues. She'll say, you know,
Yeah.
she'll say everything else except
What she needs to say.
what's supposed to be said, and I think that sometimes creates a problem, even if it's stroking the male's ego.
Okay, Ms. Kelly.
All right.
rebuttal.
on that, when he's saying that, a lot of times we don't say exactly what we feel because we've been so used to them walking away when we hit too hard. All right?
I agree.
Women
With
can
our
go for the
words.
jugular. Women go for the jugular.
With our words,
Yes.
you know, and they'll walk away, so we've been so used to them walking away that we kind of speak in seasoned tongue.
See?
Okay.
That's
Yes.
where
There's
you
your
say
answer.
what you want to say without offending the man to the point that he walks away.
And just in case you walked a little bit too far, she comes out with that jugular one
Thank
right there.
you.
It makes you
Thank
turn
you.
back
Thank
around.
you.
No, I got another
I didn't get
part of
this.
this. I got another part of this. I think partially the problem is because guys really do sit down and with guys talk about all kinds of problems and expect a solution. Have you ever talked to your guy and he's trying to solve the problem for you and you're really angry at him because all you want is for him to listen to your problem? You don't want him to answer the problem for you. You don't want him to make a solution. That's how we talk to each other. Well, I got this, my starter doesn't start, and I press it like this. Oh, did you try this? That's how we talk to each other. If you ask us, if you tell us, I have a problem, we will try to solve it. If we try to solve it, like being guys, we walk right into a minefield because you don't want us to solve your problem.
Minefield
You're
is
not
right.
really discussing what you want to discuss. What you want to discuss is how you feel about it. You don't want us to solve the problem, and our natural tendencies are to try, to analyze it and try and solve the problem like it was a broken alternator, and we're not even. Part of it's our fault, but part of it's because what you're saying is not what you mean. You know.
Okay. How can what would you like to be as a role model? What does it mean for you to be a role model to young men? We have about 5 minutes. We need to be about probably 30 seconds apiece, real quick.
Now, what's your question again?
What does it mean for you to be a role model as a male? Same thing for the females. We'll go here and you can go back and forth like this.
Well, just give the kids something positive to look at. You know what I mean?
Something positive to look at.
I
In which
mean,
ways?
In which ways? Well, me and you've been friends for a while, and I've discussed this many times with you. Now, I'm from the inner city. Now, you're from the inner city, but what are the chances of you walking to a place, let's say like Winchester Avenue, up to a kid, and me, in my attire, and you in your attire, who do you think that kid's going to look to first? Who do you think? He's going to look to me first.
Right.
Why? Because he's never going to be able to understand a man in a three-piece suit, whereas he can
image.
understand a man like me.
The image. Female role model. What does it mean to you to be a female role model?
I think teaching, I believe, I have boys and a daughter and sons. Independence.
Okay.
Not even, you don't need a man or you don't need a woman, but how to take care of yourself.
Okay.
I think as a role model, we need to teach children how to take care of themselves.
Okay. Okay. We have one more caller. Talk to me, voice.
Yes, I think this lady put it very eloquently. She said that men and women need to walk beside one another, not the woman behind or the man behind, but beside.
I love you, Sharon. That's Sharon. That is Sharon. That is Sharon. Sharon couldn't be here tonight.
You know who that is?
Yeah, Sharon couldn't be here tonight because Sharon knew what was going to be here.
Keith?
I'm sorry, voice. We're going to go to the next. We're going to go to the next call. The next. Yes, voice.
That wasn't Sharon.
I knew she was going to say that.
Well, somebody who's heard
Sharon. Yeah, okay.
I've heard Karen on this show.
Judy, what does it mean to be a role model? Female role model?
Education, respect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ken?
Staying out of jail. I think that's an important thing for men.
So you can't be there. Okay.
Yeah.
Deborah?
Female role model. To be the best that you can be.
Okay.
To set those examples, but more importantly, you know what I think would have been even better? Asking the men what they think a woman role model should be, and asking the women what they think
That's a good idea.
a male role
We
model
have
should
a
be.
minute and a half. We have a minute and a half.
Can I address that? I
Please.
want to address that.
Please.
That's a very good topic
Right,
to
it
bring
is.
up. I think a woman should understand that a guy, if he's interested in you, his first attraction is physical. If you're a nice looking person and you carry yourself, you know, pretty well, he's studying you. So when you start slacking, he's just subtracting
Do women
points.
study men?
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
Oh, yeah.
He's subtracting points.
Okay.
So if you
Goes
carry
both
yourself
ways.
around, like a hoochie, we can say hoochie on the show. Right?
Well, you can now.
That's the way he's going to treat you because he sees that. If you carry yourself around like the three ladies on our panel here, he's going to treat you a different
And
way.
if a male walks around like a knucklehead, she's going to treat him like a different way.
Accordingly.
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 That's very true.
Of course, we don't have enough time. We try to do the best that we can with this time thing. It just really picked up. I really appreciate you guys for being on the show today. It was very, very important that we had this kind of dialogue. I must admit that when we did get with each other, we seemed to talk a little bit more than what I thought was going to happen. Well, you know, knuckle up type thing. But you guys, can I throw a chair? You guys are very respectful, and I really appreciate that. And that's what it's really all about: being respectful and communicating. If we weren't doing it before, let's try to do it now. And don't forget that we are role models to the younger ones. When we're not communicating with each other, the young ones learn not to communicate with each other. It starts off from way back. I do want to make sure that I say that my three young ladies right here are from the Head Start program under the New Haven Board of Education. Appreciate you guys for being here. Much a busy schedule. You guys, I really appreciate you being here, being brave to sit against these young ladies right here. Really appreciate you. And thank your other halves for letting you come out today. This is truly a blessing. This is something that we need to do probably like once every 2 months or something like that. And the phones are still ringing. Again, I want to thank our guests for taking their time out of their busy day and their schedule and their families from their lives and sharing their view as we begin to build bridges and make changes with our families and our community. It will only get better if we work together. You've been watching the Keith Quality Show. I'm your bald-headed, good-looking talk show male host for CTV. Ladies, love you like a play cousin. Men, you held it down. Really appreciate it. Happy New Year. God bless.